So today I am joined with my friend and colleague, Linda Chan, who is the VP of IT at Amphenol. Linda, thanks for joining the Journey of a CISO series. Appreciate you being here today. I just can't say enough about how much I enjoy our conversations and our chat. So I'm really pleased that you said yes to this.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And I have to actually thank you for even doing this for all of the individuals that are looking to get into cybersecurity. I think it's a wonderful thing that you're doing for so many different people.
Well, I appreciate you. Well, let's just get started. We'll get right into it. So we know, as you said, a lot of new and aspiring CISOs are going to be watching this video. What's the biggest challenge or challenges you face as a CISO right now?
Yeah, so I think it's a challenge slash opportunity, and it kind of goes with the theme of this up and coming Happy Cybersecurity Awareness Month. It's starting in October, and I think that challenge slash opportunity is about educating and just spreading the word of cybersecurity. That it is, it's evolved. It is not just about IT, but the theme for next month is it is about the people. And so I think that there just needs to be a lot more of that education, creating that knowledge and spreading the word so that we can collaborate together as more and more threats in the threat landscape increases. We have to bond together and we have to, as individuals, no matter what role you're in, right? And to be able to work together towards that.
How are you, as a female in this industry, fostering a culture of diversity and inclusion on your security team and truly on your full IT team? I don't think it stops at security.
No, and it doesn't. I think it just doesn't stop. Period. Right? It's just everywhere. Right? And it's been one of my major passions. Obviously, it's always about looking for the right candidate, right? So whether you're female or a male or whatever, what ethnicity you are, it's about finding that right person. But I believe in increasing the talent pool and then showing people like what it is. Like, when I first started in infrastructure, as you can imagine, way back when, I would look out to the sea of people. And for the most part, I was the only female. But why was that? Right. And so I believe it's a lot of show people that, there are females in the industry, there are people, and create those opportunities that could exist and change the storyline. So I went to a conference a few years ago, and it was to see Sheryl Sandberg. She was the highlight, So I said, "Oh my God, I want to go see Sheryl." Of course, right? But the one of the main stories that I took away, I think it was BlackRock. The CEO said that he asked his recruiters, like, "Why is it that I only have males here? Like, why is that?" And they said, "Well, this is the only type of resume that we're getting. We'll show you. It's all males that are coming in." And he's like, and I needed to change the game, right? So he actually said he offered to the universities, any female that would come to New York City, he would pay for the air flight to come in to interview, right? And so they were able to turn that around. And I love that story because it wasn't just like, yes, you're right. That's what we're getting in. It was about like, how do I change the story, increase my talent pool, right? Because we all know we want that diversity and inclusion, right? And so I love that sort of thing. So, I haven't done anything as big as that, but I do try to do much more things. Like I was in this Athena on Long Island group where we recognize women leadership. And I think a lot of that is about just showing the younger women that they're out there. It's one of the reasons also why I wanted to teach. It was because I wanted to get the younger generation interested in IT. One of my opening questions to them is always, "Hey, when I say IT, what word do you think of?" And it's amazing. What's your word, Pam?
Tech. Tech. I love I love it though.
But I usually get laptops, help desk, and I'm like, my job is to change it. It is about what we could do to, bring change to organizations, how we can, uh, help and bring revenue and all that sort of stuff. It is not just about the tech and IT. So one of the main reasons what inspires me, I guess, to keep teaching is to be able to bring the younger generation diversity into this field.
I love that you said it's an enabler, and it truly is. It has been for a very long time. So I like that answer a lot. You, you are so inspiring with how you're weaving in like new and creative opportunities to reach women. So I heard something in your language like, don't sell yourself short, Linda. I listen to you a lot, and I'm telling you, you are an inspiration to young girls everywhere. And I think it's so important for women and different groups of people to hear your message and just know that it's attainable. So I'm just I'm so proud of you as a friend and a colleague. You do good work. You do really good work.
I think it takes all of us, right? And it's also about creating these opportunities for the younger generation. My daughter is graduating from Syracuse this December in IT, so very proud of her, with a concentration in data analytics and cybersecurity. But I was surprised when she told me that a lot of the things that she gets back is that she's too green. I'm like, she's had three internships as a senior, and she's in honors, and she's gotten some that she's too green. And I'm like, it is up to us to like say, you know what, you might be green, so to speak, but we could obviously bring them in and show them and get them involved. So I would love to see, like I said, it kind of takes all of us, working together to bring in the newer talent and get them involved.
There's a place for her. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to move on to the next question. What's different about the role of CISO now versus 2 years ago or 5 years ago? And you can talk about where you see it evolving if you'd like.
Yeah, so I definitely see it evolving. So I went to an FBI conference a couple of years ago, and one of the phrases that has always stuck with me is that we've enabled the world, but we failed to secure it. So obviously it's amazing things that we do with our connectors and IoT and RFID and all this sort of stuff, right? It's like the good side of IT, but a lot of times we don't develop, I guess, right, security and incorporate security into that. So I think that that is evolving. I think that there's just so much more of that out there now. And which gives security more of a highlight now. So I think more and more people are recognizing it, especially with things that happen like the Log4j just hitting every sort of different application out there. So I think that that is evolving and changing. And I think the way that we react to it by collaborating with each other and sharing our stories is a great way to try to um, evolve with the changing times.
I agree. That's a fantastic answer. So it's extremely important to have the attention of the business. How do you foster communication with other groups in your organization and get them to buy into embracing security? And I know this is something that you and I have talked a little bit about of strategies around this, and I think you have a very creative approach to this. So talk to me a little bit about how you work with groups in your organization.
Yeah, so I basically try to sing the song of what we do here in the headquarters IT, and I break it down into what I call my offense and my defense. Right, on my offense, I have 4 C's, which I talk about. The first 2 C's are about connections and collaboration, and the second 2 C's are around cybersecurity and controls. And so what I do is I create videos, I go to the conferences, the Amphenol conferences, I do plant visits, and I gather my IT teams. Like next week, we're having a North America IT meeting here in Wallingford, Connecticut, so that we could all start sharing our stories. But it is about building those relationships, telling them the stories, getting the buy-in. And so the way I kind of do it is to show the benefits of like what we're doing with my offense, and then aligning it to how can we help also protect you with my defense.
That's fantastic. I think people are going to start using those strategies when they hear this, and I think it's a great strategy. Okay, so how have the events of the past few years influenced or transformed how you will move your business forward in the coming years? And I'm talking about hybrid work, and you can even talk about the Great Resignation, if you like. But just the past couple of years, we've been dealing with a lot in the cyberspace. So what have what do you think about those times and how it's transformed how you're going to move your business in the future?
So yes, definitely the hybrid workforce has changed, and the movement to cloud. So for me, what I've been trying to do is remove the commodity, right? So I don't really need my team to focus on when Log4j comes out. Did I patch all my servers? Did I patch this? Is it going to affect this, right? It's a lot of work, I will say. And so by moving things off to either managed services, I won't say really cloud, but managed services, it could be, I won't say any vendor names, but being able to offload that and know that it's taken care of, right? So if I had an Exchange on-premise server, I'm going to be sweating it, saying, oh my God, new security updates out. I have to patch the server. Did I patch the server across all of my different locations? Whereas if I could just kind of move that off and then use my team to do more productive type things that help move the business forward, that maybe brings revenue in, so that's how I'm kind of making this shift.
I think that's fascinating to talk through and to hear about from your perspective, because I'm certainly of the same mind to simplify tech stack and your partners, and I think that's why we get along so well, is we just have some similar focus areas. So that's fantastic. I hope people are listening to that. And it doesn't mean that people aren't doing interesting things. They're doing more interesting things, wouldn't you say, Linda?
Absolutely. I just like my passion. Like I like the cyber because I think it's about figuring out a puzzle and like trying to help the business defend against things. But I do get such great like happiness, I think, from trying to move this business forward, in other ways. And I think alleviating some of the stuff and just giving it off to the managed services or the experts that have to do it for the thousands, right? It just makes it much easier and better for us in IT to help move this business forward.
It's their specialty focus.
Yeah.
I totally hear you on that. So when you do outsource in that capacity, what qualities do you seek out or value in a partner?
Yeah, so that's super important. And a funny thing is, somebody once told me that I had spidey senses on that. But finding the right partner, and finding the right vendor, but it is certainly about building that relationship, building that relationship and finding the person that has your back, so to speak, right? And sometimes it's funny because the company sometimes doesn't matter as much as the person that you're working with, and that's what I really really look for. I'll give you an example of this one vendor that we just started, that we worked with for a long time, but we moved a lot of our stuff over to him. And he said something like, it is about, for me, about knowing that we have each other's back, so to speak. And he goes, I could tell you, I give my word that I will, make this, and that just goes a long way. And on the back end, it's never about, oh, did you do the change order? Oh, well, you owe me $5 more, or it's always about, guess what? We have to get this resolved. And those are the vendors that I love and appreciate, and the ones that even come to me and say, hey, did you know, right? Hey, did you know that Log4j is coming out, like, yeah, it came out yesterday, whatever. So yeah, the partnerships and the vendors, because we can't do it all. There's just so much. We rely upon these relationships and the vendors.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So tell us about the conversation with your board or your executive level staff. How do you measure success and inform them? What information are they looking for as it relates to security in your organization? And, if that's your board or your executive staff, either way.
Yeah, so I was actually fortunate. So all boards are obviously different. I was fortunate that I sat on the board, so I can kind of think of like the perspective of being on the board. So that's kind of fun. But I'm super lucky about our board. We have a really diverse and experienced board. And I take it with an approach of an audit, really, like an audit slash risk management. And that's how I present it to them. Because I still think if I am targeted, Woman Chant, unfortunately, is targeted, like the bad guys are going to be able to find something on me or do something, right? And it's about figuring out like what we need to do, what are our layers of defense, where our biggest risks are, and what are we doing to protect against that. And so that's how I inform them of what is going on. And they're, like I said, they're one of the best boards that I've worked with.
That's fantastic to hear. I think an educated and diverse board is a win-win, right? It's definitely a positive for you. And I love that you said, I think of it like an audit. I think that's very impressive. I've never heard someone say that, Linda, and you're absolutely right. Like you're being audited and you need to share information about your organization and really take it on the chin when you need to and really address things when you do. So it's very insightful. I like that a lot. Okay, last question. I love this question. And you're a professor, so you interact with students. So um, I think you're going to have a great answer to this. But if you can go back to your younger self and give her a piece of advice, what would you say? And what would you say to the next generation of security professionals watching this today?
Okay. To answer your first question about like what I would tell my younger self is, so I'm a big reader or Audible, but I'm a listener, and I'm currently listening to a book by David Brooks called The Second Mountain. Have you heard?
No, but
So
no.
it's the second mountain is about, you have your first mountain, and usually that's like your career. It's about individualism. It's about like how you're getting to the top of that mountain. And the second mountain is about finding meaningful, fulfilling things, and how to service others, really, right? And so as I'm reading this book, I was just thinking that I would, even my younger self, I would love to have started to even start to focus on my second mountain. So that second mountain about like what brings your soul and your heart joy, so to speak, right? And I think that that joy and that heart is about giving back. Is why I love, I think, teaching so much, right? Because and they give back to me. So it's not even just about giving to them. I feel like that they give back to me too, right? And it just fills my. So I would say for my younger self, I would start to even focus on that even earlier, you know. But anybody, I would recommend the book for anybody.
I love that. I love that. Okay, and what would you say to the next generation?
The next generation, I would say, is to just keep it kind of goes some like I'm like a Seinfeld episode, just go back to just like going back to the beginning. I would say, just keep moving, like keep learning, keep asking questions, keep volunteering for those opportunities, and don't be afraid to fail, right? And I think that that is a lot with the younger generation is like, oh, I don't want to try it because then I'm not going to do well. But it is about learning and failing and starting all over again. I went to a conference once. It was a GenPAC conference, and I remember the CEO, his keynote speak was about unlearning. And he said that he said, I think it is about learning, relearning, and not getting stuck with one thing in your head, and because the world is changing faster and faster, right? And so I would say just keep moving forward on both mountains.
I like it. That's great advice. See, what a pleasure you are. And you had a lot of great tidbits in this discussion today. And I am so proud that I can call you a friend, Linda. And soon I will be up near New York and we will get together.
Same here. And I thank you for everything you do. I know that you do so much, Pam, and I think that it's fantastic. And I'm also glad to call you my friend, and I look forward to seeing you when you come up.
Thanks for joining us today.